Welcome back to the Snowpoint Cast. Today we're going to be taking a look at a Majestic Dawn to Call of Legends game between myself and Trevor Reed. I'm going to be on the left playing Vilegar, and Trevor's going to be on the right playing Dialgachomp. So this is kind of an interesting matchup in this format, mostly because I think this is one of the decks that can contest Vilegar for the throne of BDIF in this format. Vilegar, a lot of people, very rightly so, think that Vilegar is the best deck in the format in this format, and it's a very, very good deck. However, I think that Dialgachomp, not only just because it has a lot of raw strength in the deck itself, is just a very good deck, has a very good deck goal. It also has some of the answers to some of the problems that Vilegar presents. Like, you have ways to get out of trainer lock with Dialga level X's Pokebody. You stop Spiritomb and Vileplume from being a trainer lock issue. So that's actually a really big deal. And you also have Garchomp to take stuff out early. So I think that overall, Dialgachomp has a lot of tools to be able to handle Vilegar. Not looking like Trevor's hitting any of them on the turn one, though. Going for an attach pass on the Bronzong, really not what you want to see. You want to be putting that attachment on a Dialga or a Garchomp. It's not so bad because you can just move it, but still not the optimal turn one from Trevor there. So I'm going to start an Oddish, a Q, and a Ghastly. So actually looking pretty chill on this turn one. I see an Uxie and an Energy in the hand as well. So I'm going to go for an attach to the active. And just go for a setup for 4, draw some cards. I really want to hit like Broken Time Space stuff. That's not amazing, but it's also not awful because I have the Haunter for next turn. So I have a Lookers. I have the option to use Lookers, but I think I just hold the hand because there's a very... I'd rather just keep the Haunter, because if I hit Haunter, then Lookers and potentially draw Broken Time Space Gengar. It also depends what Trevor's got, right? Like, he's going to go for a Cyrus here, so he is going to have some good cards in his hand that I might want to disrupt with the Lookers Investigation as well. So we'll see what Trevor gets and see how I use that Lookers. So he's probably, go for Energy Collector, something else, maybe an Energy Gain. He wants the expert belt but can't get that. Probably gonna go for just an energy gain there, which makes the most sense, just to be able to I don't know what else he's got. Probably just attaching the gain to the collector, assuming that I am gonna whiff trainer lock again next turn. But actually that's not too bad for him if I just stick with this Ghastly, because it means that he might be able to KO with the Bronzong if I just decide to trainer lock. So he's not in a bad position as well there if I decide to do that. He does have the Psychic Energy in his hand, so he will KO there. So I'm going to bench the Chansey, attach a Rescue Energy, and evolve into a Haunter. And then use the Looker's Investigation to kind of see what he's got. So that hand is like really, really good. You can't really allow SP player to keep that hand. So I'm going to get him to shuffle that in because that is a very, very solid hand. I mean, the Collector just sets his whole game up, and he's got Special Metal Energy, he's got Psychic, like he's got so many options there. So I would much rather have him have 5 cards there, and I do have another Uxie, so I might be able to still pop off here. It's very possible that I also just like win the game this turn if I Uxie into Broken Time Space and a Gengar, and then I Poltergeist and hit 2 trainers. That hits 120 because the Bronzong is weak to Psychic. Not looking like I hit that at all, but still something that you go for. May as well try to hit that out. We're just going to go Unknown Q on the Uxie so that we have a free retreater if this Hunter does end up dying next turn, because that's a possibility. But yeah, overall not looking so bad. Missing the trainer lock on turn 2 does kind of suck as Vilegar. Didn't really have an out for Spiritomb or another Ghastly. If I had another Ghastly, I'd probably just retreat manually or put the Q on and then done that, but that didn't happen. So Trevor's just going to go for a bench Dialga, bench Garchomp, Special Metal, Expert Belt, and a Pont, which is amazing. I swung at his Bronzong for 60, but he's in a really good position now because he has not only the option to Power Spray. If he hits like Poke Turn, I'm getting deafened for 30 this turn, which sucks really bad. Means I can't hit Broken Time Space, which means I can't get Vileplume into play next turn, which is really, really good for Trevor if he gets another turn of trainers off. The more turns that you give SP with trainers, the more deadly the deck becomes if you're playing a trainer lock deck. So yeah, we'll see what Trevor can draw off this Pont. If he hits a Poke Turn, he's really chilling. Even if he hits like Warp Energy, he's really chilling. He has a lot of really good outs. Warp Point as well is a good out that he could draw. So I see another Dialga there in his hand. Not sure if he's going to bench it. Probably gonna, just going to bench it. Makes sense, just so he has that option to do some Poke Turn shenanigans with Dialga if that's what he decides to do. Not sure what else he's got. He's going to go for the Uxie, draw a couple cards here, see what he can get. I'm seeing an energy gain, a collector, and a special metal, so it doesn't really look like he hit there. Gonna go for an energy gain on the Garchomp, which makes a lot of sense. He does threaten KO next turn with the Garchomp, which is actually pretty deadly. And he's just gonna move the metal energy to the Dialga off the Bronzong because he knows it's going down this turn, which is kind of a bummer. You're not gonna get that Bronzong because it's a really important tool in any matchup if you're playing SP. But it's looking like I have a pretty decent hand as well, so I'm gonna go Gengar and bench a Ghastly as well. I see that call in my hand, so I'm also going to be able to get an attach off this turn. So looking not so bad on my board. Missing the Vileplume, it's looking like. And I just attached there because I just want to be able to use the Uxie again. So I'm going to go for a Psychic Restore and put the Uxie on the bottom of the deck just because I don't really care to snipe with the Gengar. It's like fine, but also I would rather have that out to Uxie later so that I can collect her to draw cards if that's an out that I need. So yeah, going to take the first prize there. It should be at 5 on that dice, but that's okay. Trevor's going to think who's going to promote. Probably going to go for the Garchomp, but depending on his hand, he might actually go for the Dialga, but depending on his hand, he might go for the Garchomp, just because he might just go for a snipe on that Oddish. I mean, if you have the option to just take out Trainer Lock as a threat the whole game, because Vileplume is the main Trainer Lock threat, that's really good to do as any deck that plays Garchomp, just because Vileplume is such a big threat. And he's going to go for the Twins, so he is guaranteed going to hit here. All he needs is a Garchomp X and a DCE, and he's probably just going to go for the Dragon Rush on that Oddish, which I think is a super fine play. Because obviously a Trainer Lock deck, you need to lock trainers. Poltergeist on Gengar really relies on having that Vileplume so that you can deal some damage. And when you take out that Vileplume, it just lets you play out all the trainers in your hand. So Trevor, he was talking to me before we even played this matchup, and he said him and back when this format was real, him and Chase tested this. Chase is his testing buddy, Chase Maloney. They tested this matchup so much, so he's really familiar with it, really knows the ins and outs, and you can see that very clearly here by the plays that he's making. Going for a Twins for Garchomp, he's going to level X, attach the DCE, and he's going to be able to Dragon Rush wherever he wants. Definitely going to kill that Oddish, though, so being able to take the Oddish out, really solid play from Trev here, really just showing that he knows the matchup very well, and he also has that Dialga with the Expert Belt and a special metal energy waiting in the wings to be able to free retreat and then start deafening with that next turn, which is also really deadly. So pretty good position to be in. Trevor also, it depends what his hand is. I think I saw a Dialga level X in his hand. He has the option to remove Lost as well, which is great with an Expert Belt because it hits Gengar for 100. And then with Crobat, that lets you avoid Fainting Spell. So a really good play that Trevor might be able to do next turn. I'm just going to go for the basic Psychic attach on the Ghastly. And then, yeah, we're going to see... Might just go for the Poltergeist, but I think the safe play is probably Shadow Room. Not sure. I don't even remember what I do here, to be honest. I think I probably just go for the Poltergeist because that makes the most sense. Gonna go for Gengar level X, so I'm getting that plus 30 HP, and then I also get the level down ability as well as Compound Pain. Compound Pain's not really going to be useful in this matchup because of how good Garchomp is at healing everything. But level down is extremely useful, so being able to shuffle your opponent's Dialga level X back into the deck, not as important now that I haven't found a Vileplume and Trevor killed my Oddish. So being able to... I'm not sure. Oh, I just hit the Uxie for 60 with a Shadow Room, so yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then Trevor's going to go for the Dialga level X. Being able to... and he did hit that Lost Remove as well that I was talking about. So being able to level down this Dialga is really nice just to be able to take a little HP off there, but getting Remove Lost for a big hundo is also really not nice. I was lucky enough to not get my energy Remove Losted, but he still has the potential to do that next turn as well if he goes for another Remove Lost. He does have an Expert Belt, so with that Fainting Spell, I do have the potential to just trade really favorably, but also Trevor has some options that he can do as well if he wants to, depending on what he wants to do. I mean, he could... kill with the Uxie. If he has Uxie Bat Poketurn, he could do that, and then you kind of avoid the Fainting Spell because the Uxie goes to the bottom of the deck. But I'm just going to bench a Spiritomb, retreat into it, kind of just set my board up a little bit more. I have a Seeker in my hand, and I just use it, yeah, just because Trevor gets the Uxie back, sure, but also I really need to save that Gengar because I can't really afford to not have that Gengar die. So it kind of sucks that I'm going to be going down a little bit, but I also Trainer Lock with a Spiritomb. It opens me up for a Poltergeist play next turn because I do have that Trainer Lock. Oh, I should have leveled down first. That was actually so bad of me. I should have leveled down so that I did have the Trainer Lock because I'm not actually Trainer Lock now. So that was a really big misplay on my part that actually is going to cost me big because Trevor has access to trainers and I won't be able to hit him for a lot with Poltergeist next turn. So he's just going to go for a Collector, but that is a really big misplay on my part. Super important to level down the Dialgachomp level X in this matchup. Very silly of me not to do that. But also my board's looking not so bad. I kind of just spread my investments. I have an energy on 2 Haunters now. So it means even if he does have that, poke a turn and he wants to shoot one of them with a Garchomp, I still have the option to attack with Gengar next turn. He's probably not going to do that. He's probably just going to keep attacking with the Dialga. But going over the unknown Q, another Garchomp, and a Bat. So solid collector there, just opening up for some options to be able to heal with another Garchomp if that's what he wants to do, or drop some bat damage. Kind of depends on what he wants to hit. And having the bat in hand is really good. I'm assuming he probably has a Poketurn in hand, just because bat turn is really, really useful in this matchup. Especially just like burning your turns. In a lot of matchups, you want to save your Poketurns, but in this matchup, best to just it depends on the situation. But a lot of the times you can just burn them if it's a worthwhile investment. Because not only are they out of your deck now, so you don't get poltergeisted, you also like get the benefit of a really aggressive Poketurn plays. So he's just gonna go for the, I think that was a special metal attach on the Garchomp. Might be a basic metal too. No, it's a special metal, I think. So yeah, going for the special metal, he's just gonna kill the Spiritomb with Second Strike or Remove Lost, whichever one he wants. Promote the Uxie, bench a Ghastly. I do have that Gengar still in my hand. I level X. He didn't play any trainers last turn, so I guess it doesn't really matter. But that doesn't make it not a misplay. So yeah, gonna promote the Ux here, see what we got off this. I do have the Gengar for sure, so I'm gonna evolve there. The option to Shadow Room the Garchomp too, but I don't really know what the best play here is. I'm gonna go for Twins, definitely, because that's really, really solid when you're have the option to use Twins. We're gonna search for any 2 cards in the deck. Could get a number of things. I have the Gengar level X. But yeah, I'm just gonna not really. I actually don't even remember what I got. I think it might have been energy. No, because I have the call in my hand, so I don't really need energy. Maybe just Broken Time Space. Something. Maybe an Oddish as well. Might be setting up for another Vileplume. I might also just given up on Vileplume this game. Yeah, I'm gonna go for an Oddish and something else. So not giving. Oh, and the Blissey. Yeah, totally. To be able to heal, because that the Blissey heal is actually a really big deal because it means that Trevor can't go remove Lost for 100 on the Gengar, and then Crobat knock that out the next turn. He has to go Crobat and then use remove Lost to potentially knock himself out if he wants to kill the Gengar this turn, which is really nice. And the Blissey. Just setting up the heal. I'm going to go for a Shadow Room on the Garchomp X because he did invest that energy there. So if he wants to Poketurn it, that's fine. If not, I'm going to be knocking it out with the energy gain and the energy next turn, which is super fine. So yeah, overall looking not so bad. Got another Oddish on my board, so I'm kind of putting a little bit of pressure on as well. And I have that Gengar level X in my hand as well, so I'm able to level down next turn. And if I'm able to hit that as well as a Vileplume, I'm going to be in a really good spot looking forward for the rest of this game. We'll see what Trevor's got in store. He does have a pretty loaded board. He has a lot of options to kind of do some stuff right now. Yeah, I think, he does have that bat. He does have the other Pokemon he got with the collector. I think it was a Q. So he does have some options here. I think knowing that because the Blissey having the heal 20 option just means that he can't go for that 100 and then kill next turn. He also knows that I have the Gengar level X in my hand, so I don't think he can. I feel like he has to kind of play around that intentionally. Otherwise, he might get in a little bit of trouble here. But Trevor really knows, he knows the matchup and he knows what he's doing, so he knows to play around that, and that he knows that the Blissey is kind of a threat right now, and that the Crobat play is not really an option unless he wants to go really ham with some Poketurns, which is also not so bad of a play. Usually that's a really bad play, over investing, going bat Poketurn for 3 damage pings, unless you're finishing a game, is usually pretty bad, especially in this deck, because you almost always want to be using your Poketurns to reuse your Garchomp or heal a Dialga, if that's something that you have to do. But also really depends. I mean, if he's able to take out a Gengar level X next turn with some bats, that could be a good play. So he's just going to go for a still just thinking over it. He's got SP has so many options just because he's got a really good hand. So he's gonna go for a Bebes, I think. Something else. He took it back. Still just pondering. Trevor's a very methodical player. He needs to think through everything, but he wants it to be. I mean, just because he would prefer everything to be as perfect as possible. So he's just going to go for the warp energy on the Garchomp with it, which I think is a fine play. It means that I'm going to potentially be able to Shadow Room next turn, and he's going to go for the remove lost here. Tails, really big tails. If he was able to remove lost heads, that would be a pretty big deal, actually. So I'm going to draw, find a broken time space, which is actually really nice because it opens up for a Vileplume this turn, depending on what's in my hand and what I have to draw. So I'm going to go for the Blissey heal 20, and discard a card from my hand. Going to discard the BTS, maybe? Potentially. Depends what else is in the hand. Looks like I don't have Vileplume in the hand if I'm going to discard BTS. I'm also just thinking about keeping it because it's a really, really solid card. So maybe I'm actually not using that yet. I'm just gonna go for the level X, which is a better play because I don't have a card in my hand that I want to discard, and this ups my HP by 40 as well. So it means that if Trevor wants to get the KO here, he's gonna have to either really invest with that Crobat or potentially lose on the feigning spell flip, which is really advantageous when he has an expert belt for me because I'm getting 2 prizes for his 1. So we'll see what Trevor does here. This is going to be a really big turn for him. If he's able to swing and KO, that'll be really good. And if he isn't, like if he flips tails on the feigning spell, then that could be a really big deal. I don't remember. I don't really know what happened there, to be honest. I might. I don't know. Maybe drew an extra card. Potentially drew an extra card. I don't really know. It doesn't matter. So yeah, Trevor, he's got a massive hand, big stack hand, and this is why you really got to get that lock early. I mean, I missed Vileplume for so many turns this game that Trevor has a lot of options this turn because of that. He's sorting out his hands. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and he's just figuring out what order that he wants to play his cards in. Because 8, he's got at least 8 cards in his hand, so he's got a ton of options of stuff to do this turn. So yeah, he's just gonna go probably kind of tough. Yeah, go for the Bebe search first. Like, it's so hard. I think Dialgachomp is one of the highest skill cap decks in any format that it exists in because you have so many options for like everything in a turn. Like, you have multiple support, especially with Cyrus. I mean, every time you use a Cyrus, you have to use the 3 option selects. You have to choose an energy. You have to choose. Usually, the basic energy is pretty easy, but you have to choose a supporter and a SP or a galactic tool. So it's like a lot of selection. So Trevor's just gonna go for a Q. I think that was what he was looking for. Not sure what he got with the babies. He didn't really reveal it. So he's gonna go for the flashbite and the active as well. Poke a turn and flashbite the active again to hit it twice. Bench an Uxie and draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards. So really good. And he did hit a war point there as well. Not really what he wants. Probably would prefer a switch. But I guess he also has the option to go Poke turn Garchomp. He's just going Poke turn Bat again. And now he's using a Junk Arm for another Poke turn for the Bat. So he hit the Junk Arm off of the Uxie, which is really nice. He needed he either needed that or another Poke turn. So this is that play that I was talking about where you go really heavily investing with your items, not only because, you know, he knows that I have the option to potentially hit a Vileplume next turn to lock him up. And I also didn't level down again. That's so bad. I gotta level down. Yeah, that's really bad. Okay, if anyone, you know, is watching this and you're thinking, oh, maybe I'll play Vilegar, the one thing you learn from this is level down the Dialga always. I missed it twice, and that's so bad. Like, really, really bad. So yeah, it's just gonna kill here with the Crobat, and then keep the option open to just attack with the Dialga. And gonna go for a swing with the Dialga, kill that as well. And now Trevor's in a really good spot. He took a 2 prize turn there, killing the Gengar level X as well as the Uxie. So he's in a really decent spot. I'm gonna promote the Blissey because it's not really looking like I have a ton. I'm gonna go for a broken time space drop, and I see that Vileplume in my hand, but I'm not really seeing a Gloom either. So not looking too good. I'm gonna go for the Azelf Time Walk. See what I got in my prizes. Mostly just for, well, I guess I'm going to grab the Gengar, yeah, because that's really good. Then I'm going to switch a card in my hand with a card in the prizes. Not sure which one. Maybe the Palmer's, because Palmer's isn't super good right now, but it's actually not bad either. I mean, Palmer's is kind of decent now that I have the Gengar level X and the Uxie and the whole Gengar line in the discard. So I have there is a lot of Pokemon and energy in the discard. So Palmer's is actually kind of good right now. We're getting into the later parts of the game when Palmer's is super good. So I do opt to put the Bebe search back, I think. Or maybe a different card. I don't know what it was. Didn't really see it. But I'm going to go for a Warp Energy on the Blissey to open that up as an attacker if I need to do that as well. And then gonna go into the Gengar. And I think we're just gonna, Shadow Room the Smeargle. Just setting up damage on the bench. Usually, like, this strategy works really well when you're locking up with Vileplume as well. It's not as good when you don't have a Vileplume going. Yeah, I just switched out a card there because I wanted a different card in the prizes for sure. So just gonna go for Shadow Room on the Smeargle, set up for some later game stuff. And this is what I was saying was that this is not a bad play. You know, dropping energy on the bench or snipes on the bench with Shadow Room, while a Dialga is forced to swing into your active, especially when Trevor's burnt so many resources. Like, he's almost out of Poke turns now. So you know, if he has to swing into the active and then potentially KO it, then you're, like I said before, you're trading really advantageously. Plus, you can just be taking KOs on the bench while you potentially just trade with Feigning Spell. So Trevor's gonna go for a Pont here. See what he can draw. He's going to draw a fresh 6. I don't think there's anything that he really cares about. I mean, Poke-turn Bat is not awful because it means that he kills the Gengar, and even if he flips Tails on the Feigning Spell, he's still up a prize, and then he only just has to, you know, snipe with Garchomp for the game. He's killing Oddish and Azelf or the Ghastly. So honestly, in a really chill position, no matter what he decides to do here. Might just go for a Deafen as well. But yeah, it really depends. But I actually think Remove Lost is the best. Yeah, Remove Lost is definitely the best because getting rid of that energy is a super, super big deal. And it also opens up for the Crobat play next turn. He knows I only have 2 cards in my hand. So Blissey, while it's really good for healing, also relies on you having cards in your hands. So if I want to play out those cards, I also won't have a chance to do that. And he's going to go for the Remove Lost 1 heads, 2 heads. I'm going to get both of my energy removed, put it in the discard, 3 heads. 4 heads. He's insane. He's so good at the game, and he fails. But I mean, 5 heads. That's oh my gosh, that's crazy. I got when I put the energy in the discard, but Trevor's like, no. These actually go in the loss zone. Super important distinction because I can't recover them then. So I'm gonna top a Bebe Search, which is actually an amazing top deck. It means that I'm gonna get the option to Uxie this turn. And also just draw more cards so that I can use the Blissey heal. And I do have that energy as well, so I'm not in too bad of a position here, to be honest. I will have the option to take a KO on Smeargle this turn. Yeah, so honestly, not so bad of a position. I'll also be able to get to heal with the Blissey if I drop the Uxie. But again, Trevor just has the option to win with Garchomp if he does have puts a little Gengar on there. Thanks, Trevor. If he has the Poke-turn for a Crobat to kill here, and a Garchomp. But I am gonna heal, so it really depends. It's gonna depend what he's got. Thinking of what my best option is. Gonna go probably Bebe Search Palmer's back, probably, because I don't know what the other card in my hand was. Oh, I think it was Palmer's Energy, so it's Bebe's Palmer's in my hand. And I'm just thinking whether I want to Palmer's this turn or next turn. But yeah, go Bebe's, put the Palmer's back. That makes the most sense. Then I'm just gonna go for an Uxie for 7. But also the thing that I was thinking about was, is the Palmer's better because Trevor has the option to Power Spray me this turn if he has a Power Spray. And if he Power Sprays me here, that's like really, really bad. Because it means that I don't get to heal with the Blissey. So I'm gonna go for the Uxie. And Trevor says, go ahead, so that's what we love to see. Honestly, a Power Spray there would have been the death of me. I don't think I would have been able to win that, because then he just would have, if with 1 Poke-turn, he would have killed the Gengar and then killed something else. So I'm going to go for a Blissful Heal, discard, I think it's called Blissful here, I don't know. The heal ability on Blissey, and heal 20 off the Gengar to avoid being KO'd by a bat next turn. I'm just going to discard a Spiritomb because that's not really a useful card right now. And then I'm just going to Shadow Room the Smeargle and kill it, go down to 3 prizes. So Trevor, he's got some options here for sure, but I put him in kind of a weird position where he might have to go for a Feigning Spell Tails. And he's at 2 prizes right now, right? So being able to force him to go back 1 more turn, if he goes for the kill here with the Dialga, which would be really silly. I don't think he's going to do that because that'd be kind of a poor play. But if he has no other options, he might just have to do that because I'm also putting pressure on the board with Gengar, so he can't really just not do that. If he has a Warp Point, that's really good too. Whoa, what he would actually love is like a Warp Point and then a Garchomp option to be able to kill it on the bench. But he's going to attach to the Uxie, going to Poke Turn, bat the active, then just go for a retreat and Uxie for the KO. So that's a really good play by Trevor. With Psychic Restore, you get the option to go to the bottom of the deck. So Fainting Spell, before Fainting Spell goes into play, Uxie is at the bottom of the deck, and then Fainting Spell has no target, so the Gengar just dies. So yeah, definitely really solid play from Trevor here. Knows the matchup, knows exactly what he's doing. So he's going to go for a Psychic Restore, put the Uxie to the bottom of the deck, and then go down to his last prize card. And now I'm in kind of a dicey position because Trevor's now got a Dialga with an extra belt with 2 metals, Crobat in the active that I can't really kill, and a Garchomp with an energy, which means that if he has, DCE Garchomp next turn, he just wins the game. So I'm going to promote the Azelf. Probably just going to go for a lockup here, force the last Poke Turn, because I think Trevor has one more Poke Turn. But yeah, I just need a stall for a few turns, honestly, so I'm probably just going to go for the lockup, try to prevent the Crobat from retreating. But if Trevor has that option to just Poke Turn the bat, that I am in a lot of trouble. But you got to play to your outs, right? So probably just going to go for a lockup with the Azelf, preventing retreat on the Crobat. And yeah, just hope to set up the board a little more. I'm going to go for a Bebe search. Probably going to go for a Haunter. Yeah, Haunter makes the most sense. I was going to say maybe Gloom, but with the Dialga there, it doesn't really make a ton of sense. So yeah, I'm just going to go for a Haunter. Missing those level downs on the level X twice is actually like so huge. It's such a big part of the matchup for me to miss. So silly. But yeah, he's just going to go Warp Point, and then he likely is going to have it. I'm going to promote the Blissey, but he's going to go Garchomp, and then all he needs is a DCE and the level X. And he's found the level X, so all he needs is DCE or an Aaron's, and an Energy will do it as well. And he has the DC. He's just going to shoot the Haunter and then take the game there. Really solid game played by Trevor there. Well done. I made a few misplays, but he played really, really well regardless of that. Okay, this has been Vilegar versus Dialgachomp. If you have any questions about the matchup, please feel leave them in the comments below, and I'll do my best to get to them. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time.